Hey everyone, how's it going? So today we're going to be doing the part 1 of the transmission adapter. Gonna have to wait for some parts to finish it, but I can already advance it quite a bit. Yeah, there's some welding involved for that one guy who asked for more welding. Me from the past thought that I could just figure it out, having the transmissions like literally 6 inches behind the firewall. And I thought like magic things could happen and maybe it would just figure itself out with time. It just so happens that I kind of decided to go with the automatic transmission finally because, well, I've got 2 of them, so spare transmissions when I blow one up. And it fits. It actually fits. The adapter doesn't have to be some stupid long length. So we're going with that finally. It's just gonna make everything so much easier. I'm glad that's off my back now. Alright, so here I'm just gonna take this vacuum pump off to figure out how much space do I need to actually be able to take this off, so that I know how thick my adapter has to be, because otherwise there's pretty much nothing else here that's gonna interfere, I don't believe. Say I wanted to remove this, I would need minimum a good 1/2 inch, so let's say a 3/4 inch. So I just drilled out this hole that's centered on the crank, and this is what I want to start with, because probably the easier way to start with the crank and then go to the dowel pins. So I drilled it out approximately and then sanded it out with this. Oh, that's pretty good. Alright, so that's done. I've got the 2 dowels located to the center of the crank, and I think it's going to be pretty good. It feels really really tight. All the holes they're like, even when it's just on the crank, it's like super tight. So there's really no play in this. It should be pretty precise. And for the bolt holes, I actually did a pilot hole, big drill bit, and then I went in with a little sandpaper on a drill bit. So I just punched a little mark to find these holes. These 3 holes were not on the drawing that I found online, so I had to find them myself. And I did the same thing. I just got this really tight on the crank, so there's really no slop in it, and I just eyeballed it from these bolts here that I put in from the back, and punched it on, well, the camera's sitting on the punch, but punched it, and then this middle one I just punched it by eye, because these are not these are going to be like passage holes, so they're going to be bigger than the bolt, and everything is guided off of these dowel pins, so it doesn't have to be deadly precise for this anyways. So basically what I'm doing is just scribing like a really tiny line, double checking it with the hypotenuse, so basically just like an arc on which the hole sits, and then I go X and Y axis. Like theoretically you'd be okay just with X and Y, but I'm like making sure it's right with the arc, so I have 3 measurements that match up together basically, so it's just like making it a bit more exact. So I just tested the dowel pin placement on the transmission, and it was really tight. I must have been out like on my radius, must have been like 1 thou out, and so I had to like drive the dowel pin in, and it kind of shaved a bit off of the aluminum instead of the transmission. So it fits. It's tight, but it fits. It wasn't spot on. Now I'm gonna drill out all the holes to tap them. So there you go, that's the ZF side pretty much done. Got all the bolts tapped, dowels are in place. I remeasured it after reaming the holes, and they are, I believe, 0.5 mil out. So I'm hoping that's going to be okay. I guess we'll see after like 10,000 K or whatever, how much time it takes to destroy a transmission if it's wrong. So Anyways, yeah. Let's get on to the Volkswagen side now. So this is just the center dowel that I'm going to be using. Well, this is the pilot hole for the center dowel. I'm going to have a long dowel pin in between the two plates to localize them. So I think I'm going to just kind of try to trace out the outline of the starter approximately, and then I'll know how far, like, because I got to get the Volkswagen adapter out of the way. Well, believe it or not, the little Chinese plasma cutter, the little Chinese plasma cutter actually did pretty good. Kind of wanted to see what I was capable of, and it manages to cut through half-inch steel. Clearly, it takes a while, but it eventually gets there. And as long as you're moving along like slowly, it'll clear like the molten steel out of the way, and it'll be able to make it. This is gonna be the spacer for the starter. So this goes in here, trace that out. So this is it right here. 7 3/4. Let's see if I can actually weld something with a stick welder. It's been so long, and that was never good to begin with, so. Seems okay, it's not too bad. This is not very good, but I think 130 amps is going to be pretty okay, and as long as I take my time, it should be looking pretty good. Man, that's some penetration right there. It's fucking taking away all my steel. Let's just see how we're doing here with that before I weld the whole thing. Okay, I might lower the amperage a bit there. Woo! Okay, you never saw that one. Alright, so that's it for part one. I now have to wait for my machinist to make me like a spacer for the starter, for it to be the right distance away from the mounting surface of the transmission. And once that's done and the center piece, once I receive the center piece, I'll be good to go. We can bolt this whole thing together and put it in the truck and see where it ends up. Not very impressive welds, but it was kind of hard to get in the crack and get the proper angle. Of course, I was like way too on the side there, but I managed to get some decent welds in there. And plus, with those like tabs going outwards, all the force is gonna be like I'm gonna have a greater advantage on the motor, so to speak. Reason to stick weld it is it's normally stronger. Maybe not in my case because I'm not a good stick welder, but it's supposedly stronger than MIG, and it's always fun to stick weld. Really, I always find it kind of fun, more than MIG weld.